Our next question is from the Dominican Republic. It is from the Pontificia Universidad Católica Madre y Maestros in Santiago, and in the Dominican Republic.
Buenos días. Le habla Telma Román.
I am Telma Roman. I just want to clarify something about the
And we need to look at all those constituencies on a regular basis as leaders with reference to where we said we want to go. And are we still engaged? And so I would continue to say that we need to talk about vision regularly. Our people need to understand the importance of vision. And if, in fact, we have difficulty in recognizing the value of vision, we might want to do some benchmarking or looking around at those companies that seem to be very successful and go ask them questions about, well, how did you become so successful? What did the role of vision have to do? And I suspect that those companies that have been in business a long time, those companies that have been traditionally quite profitable, you'll find that at the core, whether spoken or not, is a very common understood vision of where the business is going. And so I can tell you sort of categorically that if you have a good vision, you will be a successful business.
Our next question is from La Universidad Autónoma de Baja California Sur in the city of La Paz, in the state of Baja California Sur, in Mexico.
I would like to ask your opinion about what a vision is for a university. We have the possibility to have an institution with excellent quality that not only satisfies or surpass the needs of Baja California Sur, but we want them to go beyond their areas of influence and make it a very high model of educational institution in the northwest of our country and as well as southwest of the United States. That is what we would like to have.
I believe that any university or any institution needs to look at its constituents as to what role it's playing. So as I heard the question, you have an area of focus, you have an area of marketability that you would like your students to play in and have influence in. And so I think that that's critically important. I also believe that if a university is providing students with the education, the knowledge, and some of the experience that will make them most successful in their endeavors, there needs to be a great deal of attention paid to what are the students going to need in the future, not today or yesterday, to allow them to be successful. So for example, if I want to enter the business world today, and I believe that I need to get an MBA, but I also need to have access to having a degree in law, which would make me most successful in my endeavor, I'm going to start searching for an institution which offers that. And if the institution that is nearby me does not offer it, I'll choose to go somewhere else. And so I think that looking at the students as clients and customers is critically important, but looking at their future is where the vision, I think, of the universities and institutions might have some value on focusing.
Our next question is from the Dominican Republic. It is from the Pontificia Universidad Católica Madre y Maestros in Santiago, and in the Dominican Republic.
Buenos días. Le habla Telma Román.
I am Telma Roman. I just want to clarify something about the mission. Is mission that should present the outcome of the goals of an institution, and mission has been elaborated based on the vision? Is that correct?
Okay. Again, as I have experienced working with clients and different customers, I tend not to draw the lines of distinction between mission and vision that I used to. And so I think you can use those words interchangeably. The key in either case is that the mission or the vision is that articulated future of where you would like to go, creating that image of excitement. And so the outcomes of all of the strategies support either the mission or the vision, depending on what you've chosen to call it.
Our next question is from the Dominican Republic. It's from Cedopex in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
My question is the following. What percentage of efficacy does a company have when they have a mission? We're talking about a underdeveloped country, and how do we focus that vision? What's the percentage?
I'm afraid that I can't answer that question. I'm not sure I understand the context, all of the context in which it's being answered. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your questions. Let's now move to the second module of our program, in which Tom will discuss different methods for creating, implementing achievable visions. He'll speak to the surprise guest that he referred to during our first module today.
There are multiple ways to go about developing visions, and depending upon the circumstances, all of them can be successful. But like any other human endeavor, no one size fits all. Hence, it is essential to understand several methods, or several variations of a single method, so you can adopt, mix and match, or adapt those techniques that best suit your organization's culture. But whatever you choose to develop a vision, use a method that reaches the greatest number of people in your organization, the greatest number of your stakeholders. In the previous segment, we discussed the characteristics of the process as articulated by John Cotter. Those characteristics are important to any process used to develop a vision. In this segment, I would like to share several other methods or techniques that can be used to develop visions. You might find that some, or parts of some, are of value to you in your endeavor. As I stated in our previous segment, one of the challenges we face in vision creation is that we tend to be trained to be good managers. We are very good at focusing on the day-to-day. Operations tend to focus our energy on fixing problems. However, when it comes to creating a vision, we suddenly find ourselves being forced to search the unknown. We may find it difficult to leave our practicality filter at our desk. But as we have heard and will see, visions are not disconnected from the core of what our business or institution does, nor are they disconnected from the people that exist within our organization, nor is it disconnected from the marketplace. So there are elements existing today within those constituencies that provide guidance for the development of vision. One of those is the shared values. But the other, according to David Cooperrider, may be as powerful, the things that are working correctly. In the early 1970s, David Cooperrider and his associates at Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio, started challenging the assumption proposed by change management that a business should focus on what was wrong or broken and find a solution, suggesting that there must be a correct answer to fix it. They decided to look at a business from the point of view that many things do work, and that what leaders want to find more of is what already works in an organization. And in finding what really works, leaders will find keys to enhancing the future. By default, the method or process that is developed is also a tool for developing a new vision for an organization. The method is one that may not have universal applications. It is time-consuming and complex, but is one that may provide you with another way of tackling the difficult problem of involving the stakeholders in the development process. The method Dr. Cooperrider and his associates developed for capturing the essential or core information to drive an organization to new levels of achievement is called appreciative inquiry. Fundamental to appreciative inquiry are its assumptions. First, in every organization or group, something works. Second, what we focus on becomes our reality. Third, reality is created in the moment, and there are multiple realities. Fourth, the act of asking questions of an organization or group influences the group in some way. And fifth, people have more confidence in and are more comfortable with journeying to the future, the unknown, when they carry forward parts of the past, the known. Sixth, if we carry parts of the past forward, they should be what is best about the past. Seventh, it is important to value differences. And eighth, then language we use creates our reality. The approach looks at an organization as a mystery to be embraced, not a problem to be solved. Hence, the logic of the approach begins with appreciating and valuing the best of what is, moves to envisioning what might be, and then engages in a dialogue about what should be, and finally innovate what will be. You might recall that several years ago I mentioned the process suggested by Peter R. Schultz in The Leader's Handbook. There are some resemblances in that approach to the appreciative inquiry approach. I will highlight some of the process as a second method you could use. Mr. Schultz makes the following recommendations for the leadership group as they prepare the first draft of a vision. He suggests that each leader should prepare answers to the following questions and share them with the other leaders at an executive retreat. The questions are: first, what do you like about what you do here? Second, what do you like about our industry or profession? Third, what do you like about our company when it's at its best? Fourth, what legacy do you want to leave behind, your personal contribution to this organization? And fifth, what legacy do you think we collectively should leave behind? After the leaders have each spoken, common themes are identified and a preliminary statement is drafted. This draft is shared with the organization and proceeds through a series of iterations until it expresses their belief for the future, their drive for change. A third method for identifying themes for developing visions and subsequent strategies is what I will term the bus exercise. I do not know the origins of the exercise, but I heard about it from one of the big consulting firms that uses it regularly at their semi-annual owners meetings. The exercise is, from my experience, fun. It generates a lot of discussion and provides a significant amount of data. The objective is to envision the future when everything is working the way that would be most beneficial to all stakeholders. How you articulate this future is by drawing a picture of a bus. You can put anything in the bus or outside the bus you want. You can create a landscape or a scene for your bus. But whatever you draw must embody those future characteristics you believe will make the company or organization most successful. If the group is large, break them into groups of 4 or 5 and have each group draw a bus. During the process, it is helpful if someone in the group also captures key thoughts or thinking that leads to the ultimate drawing. On your screen is a picture of the bus, a group that I worked with earlier this year drew. Note some of the features of the drawing. On the left side, notice all the customers lined up to buy their products. They're all holding bags of money ready to spend. Clearly, they see significant value in doing business with this particular company. On the right side, note all the new employees lined up to join the organization. Especially note the person with the beret and cigarette. This represents part of their group, the international group in France, that has never participated with them or felt a part of the team. Notice inside the bus, employees are working together. Notice flames coming out of the exhaust pipes of the rear of the bus. This bus is moving. And the road ahead is straight, no curves. Also note that the road is clear of obstacles, except bags of money waiting to be picked up. Note the horizon also gets greener and greener. Finally note the horizon with the sun and the pot of gold. Now you could be a cynic and say the drawing really does not say much, and you could be correct. However, in the context of that organization, this is a major shift. For contrast, we also had the team draw a bus of their current state. That bus was missing wheels, aiming in the wrong direction, steering wheel wasn't connected to the drivetrain. Also, one of the participants at each team captured the thoughts after listening to the reports from each team. Together they had created the direction for the next 3 years. They had enough detail to articulate a 3-year vision, their strategies for the next 18 months, and architect 4 initiatives for the current year. Those are examples of several more methods that you could use to help you develop achievable visions. Visions that form the core of your change systems. Vision that create your global scope. At the beginning of today's program, I mentioned that we would have a special guest with us today. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned that I would have a surprise guest in the second module. As you know, today's program represents the 100th program for ITC. Truly a significant achievement, one emerging out of a clear vision of the possible, and one at the core of a change system. I thought in recognition of that milestone, and keeping with our exploration of our theme, creating achievable visions with a global scope, we could recognize the efforts of Dr. Miguel Cardenas, founder of ITC, by asking him to join us, but also to share some of his experience and learning in giving life to what has truly become an achievable vision with a global scope. So Dr. Cardenas, I'd like to welcome you first of all, and congratulations. In keeping with the theme, I would like to ask you a little bit about ITC today, all right? And so could you tell me what the vision of ITC is?
Thank you, Tom. The vision of ITC is to become a truly global network of individuals, organizations, and communities from education, private enterprise, and government engaged in shared learning, in training, and in business development and exchange through the use of telecommunications and other e-resources available, and the application of a broad systems approach. That's what the ITC vision mandates.
Oh, great. So sounds like it's an achievable vision.
Yes, we are sure it is.
Okay,
yes.
Great, good.
Yes.
Can you tell us the origin of your vision for ITC, how it was formulated, and what type of process that you used?
Thank you for the question. Well, I had a personal frustration and also professional frustration back in the 1980s, which had to do with the fact that satellites and the newer e-technologies, such as the internet, the ISDN lines, wireless communication systems, were mostly being used by commercial television networks for entertainment and news programs, and hardly at all for productive learning applications and business. And developing nations at that time were beginning to invest large sums of money in these satellites and these telecommunications technologies. And I thought there was an increasingly high opportunity cost to society at that time. So out of that, I basically started formulating a vision. I guess the method that I might have used could be similar to what you described earlier as the bus exercise. What I remember doing was that I attracted a group of selected friends and colleagues who I first convinced them of my frustration, so they shared that. And then I got them to design and implement with me a first strategy to demonstrate how satellites could be used practically for programs, productive learning, particularly across borders, as a first step to later integrating the use of other technologies. I remember the picture of the bus that we drew in a way following your very nice descriptive method. Had many challenges, political, multicultural, and certainly finance and economic challenges. But they were also added to that the obstacles in that road ahead that we saw that were tough, but not unresolvable. So I thought that we could still go ahead, and that's why we are moving ahead.
Great, great. From your experience, how important was having a vision in the 16-year evolution of ITC and its success?
Well, Tom, without a vision, we certainly would not have the accomplishments and progress that we see in ITC today, 16 years after we started. The rest of the time, the vision established a roadmap for every entering associate, for all of our collaborators and contributors. And after that, simply our associates, who are really the heart of our network, with their work and enthusiasm, have brought us to where we are today, which is truly the reality of a global, soon-to-be global network of collaboration that is very unique and very exciting in the world. I remember having started with an ITC video conference the first time that reached 3 sites regionally around the border area of Mexico, and no more than 100 people attending. And today this program is going to at least 350 sites, 35,000 people, and 18 countries. So this is quite an accomplishment from everyone.
Yes. Wow. How did the vision for ITC drive the system of changes that have allowed you to grow over the past 16 years?
Good question. The vision of ITC is actually a very challenging one. And first of all, it requires and calls for collaboration in the same environment, the same network, and at the same time between educators, private enterprise, businessmen, and government. And the attitude changes needed to work together, not just to coordinate or link up, but actually work together, is one true difficult task. The vision also establishes, in fact, mandates a horizontal platform of collaboration that makes all of our associates in the context of our activities equal. Whoever they are, wherever we are, culturally, geographically, or economically. That's also a difficult, again, task, and it requires a change of mentality. The ITC team I think here in San Diego, including myself, has gone through a transformation. We, I guess, have done it also to keep with our vision. And, for example, we have become more self-support financially, more independent of university infrastructure. We are truly using available e-resources for all of our work processes, so we are actually now practicing what we preach. So it's an ever evolving, continuous change effort. Yes.
Thank you. From its inception, the ITC has become global as part of its vision. Again, from your experience, can you share some lessons that you learned about having a vision with a global scope?
Yes, well, a vision with a global scope is particularly challenging, that's correct. But not only because of the vast geography that the world now covers, and certainly the many differences that we see in culture and socioeconomic and political, again, scenarios, but also because a global scope mandates that you adopt a global perspective. And a true global perspective is really a broad systems view of your reality around you at all levels. In other words, you don't have to engage in commerce or distance education or training with 200 plus nations of the world to really have a global perspective. You can have a global perspective if you simply are open to the values of others in your own community, regardless of where those values come from, regardless of their cultural heritage or origin. It also means and requires you to stay abreast and understand global issues. Not necessarily that you travel all over the world, that you simply understand them. And it also requires you to have the competence and the technology to be able to compete with the rest of the world, starting at home. That's what the global vision is all about. All of those things are tough to do.
Dr. Cardes, please share with us some of your experiences in having a shared vision in a global setting.
Well, Tom, a shared vision in general, I believe, allows you to continuously enrich and strengthen your strategies, meaning your journey to the vision, with the participation of everyone involved. So that's something that is very strong. In the case of the ITC organization, for example, through its International Executive Committee, which now represents this body of organizations, they have been very helpful and almost instrumental in supporting us in this competency-based training program for distance activity that the coordinators, our site coordinators, have been involved with, which is a key development effort. And they have also been very helpful in making sure that our associates bring in new ideas to the ITC. That has produced, for example, special events that are very important, such as our annual event in January. So the shared vision aspect is something very important. Yes.
Good. And where do you see ITC, the vision of ITC taking you the next 10 years?